Hi, I'm Jo Clark, and thanks so much for joining me today. This is the Redefining Midlife podcast, a podcast designed for the 40-plus woman who is determined to challenge society's myths and beliefs around midlife. It's for the woman who is inspired and ready to define midlife her way. Join me each week as I chat to health and wellness experts for up-to-date information on how to live well as some special conversations with incredible everyday women redefining what midlife can look like. Here's to making our next half of life even better than the first. Thanks so much to listeners for the lovely messages that I received about how much they enjoyed last week's chat with Vanya Insel from VJ Cooks. Now, pass on all of your comments to Vanya, and she says a great big thanks as well. Now, it would mean the world to me if you could share any of these episodes that you found valuable with your friends. On to today's show. You'll be meeting the lovely Bec Jakstas. Now, you may not have heard of today's topic that we're going to be talking about before, but she's going to tell us all about dry body brushing. Bec happens to be the founder of Stas & Co., a company that makes beautiful body brushes. Just so you have a bit of context, dry body brushing is an ancient Ayurvedic technique that also happens to be very simple and one that can be easily incorporated into your self-care routine. Now, studies are showing how incredibly beneficial this technique is for your lymphatic system, which is one of those key systems that contributes to our overall health and well-being. And also, if you're someone who suffers from stress or anxiety, you're going to be pleased to hear that just a few minutes of dry body brushing is all it can take to calm your entire nervous system. Bec very kindly gifted me a body brush, and I've started to add this practice before I have my shower each night and before I get into my clothes for the day. And I can tell you firsthand that it is really super easy and it takes no time at all. And God, it feels good. Bec's also a yoga teacher, and she's someone who practices what she preaches when it comes to self-care. And as I found out, she's had a pretty interesting life. Enjoy this episode. And a very big welcome to you, Bec. This is all about supporting women to prioritize themselves and their health and wellness in the middle of life. And that's something that I'm absolutely passionate about. So finding some time for self-care is so important. And this conversation is going to be addressing lots of those things. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Jo. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me on. It's certainly a topic that I love to speak about amongst my friends and family. So, yes.
Thank you. And you know, it's really important because you've got a lot of things that you can share with us in today's episode through your practices and through what you do in your businesses as well. So that'll be great to be able to touch on that, because what's important is that I think as women, we need to see that self-care is really healthcare, and particularly in this stage of life and going forward. So what we do now is setting the stage for what's going to be happening further down the track. So we have to be really mindful of that it's not self-indulgent. And I'm looking forward to learn more about your daily rituals that you've implemented into your life, and also in particular, dry body brushing. So for a lot of people, they may not have heard of that before. So just to set the scene, most women probably have gone to a day spa and had a beautiful massage and have felt the benefits of that afterwards, where they're feeling relaxed, their body feels great, and that's seen as the ultimate in self-care. But dry body brushing is a little bit different, but it's something that everybody could implement into their day. So if you could tell us what it is and the benefits of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is so beautiful to go and pamper yourself at a day spa. But with dry body brushing, it's an ancient ritual that has been around for thousands of years, and it has changed over time what it actually looks like. But dry body brushing is a way to stimulate the lymphatic system and circulate the blood circulation. And more about self-care is taking the power back into your own hands and being able to have that touch for yourself every single day. So to be able to circulate your blood and to help the lymphatic system daily, and to actually have that beautiful tactile response from your own hands, becomes a beautiful ritual to set your day up every single day. So body brushing, our lymphatic system, for those who don't know, is a system in our body that isn't able to move unless we help it along. So we brush our body from our feet up our legs, up our arms, and what we're actually doing is moving the lymphatic system up towards our heart so it can pump out any toxicity through the system and just sort of able to move whatever's in the system out. And I see that as something that is toxicity in our body that we go through our daily life through certain foods and air pollution and anything. Just by living, we have toxicity in our systems. But I also see it as an energetic shift as well. So sometimes I think about cleaning the house, and when you start moving things around and you start dusting, and you feel the energy move in your home, and it becomes really beautiful, sacred space. And I feel like that with brushing my body every day also. You're moving and you're energizing, but you're also just shifting. If you're feeling a bit sluggish, you're just shifting that energy and waking yourself up in a way that can be a really beautiful practice to do every day for yourself. So if you're feeling a little bit down, or as I said, sluggish, tired, you don't feel like going to the gym or going for a walk, you start brushing your body and instantly you'll feel a shift in your energy. Yeah.
Is there a certain time of day that is better to do the body brushing?
Well, the morning is always great. I usually do it in the morning.
Yeah.
But the evening is also a really beautiful calming practice. So sometimes if I'm feeling like I need to slow down, I'll brush my body a little bit slower strokes towards the heart, and then have a bath or just, have a warm shower and hop into bed. And that can help the nervous system really settle down as well and relax, and just a more calming response that your body will have.
And so is it any length of time that you normally would, like for yourself who's done it for a long time, have you got a length of, do you say, right, I'll give myself 5 minutes, 10 minutes? What sort of length of time would you be looking at for something like this?
Yeah, well, the beautiful thing about dry body brushing is there's no rules. So I think we've got to really make sure that we don't sort of think, oh, that's another thing that I need to put into my daily routine. And I think that there's so many things to do these days. And so I love it because you can do it 3 times a day, 3 times a week, or you can do it you can do it every single day. I love doing it every day because it makes me feel so great. But even just, you can do it, if you haven't got that much time, you can just do your feet and your hands. We've got thousands of nerve endings in our fingers and our hands and our feet. And that will instantly calm the nervous system down also. So a couple of minutes a day, is all it takes for you to shift that energy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And when you found out about body brushing, what age were you and how long have you been doing this? Because it's something that obviously has been a part of your routines and rituals that you've set up for yourself.
Yeah, well, I started dry body brushing. I used to work on private yachts back in another life.
Yeah.
And, and so,
I'll have to touch that. That sounds interesting.
yeah, there's been many lives. So there was a beautician that was working on the yacht, and she was brushing her body. And so I was so interested in it. And so I got myself a brush and I started brushing, and it just changed my life. But it wasn't until after my yachting career, I went to Bali, and I lived in Bali for a few years and did an amazing cleanse for 10 days with natural instinct healing in Bali, and part of the practice was to dry body brush your body every day, and I was hooked after that. And so I couldn't find a really beautiful one that didn't have plastic in it, and I'm very much an aesthetic type of person. I love beautiful things, so I decided to design one. And I like to I almost, there's something about putting beautiful things in my bathroom that remind me of, that is how I take care of my body. It's a ritual, and I can actually put the ritual in my bathroom that reminds me of something that I do that is really precious to me every day.
Yeah, that's lovely. So can you do it also? A question before we sort of talk about more on your design and what you decided, like the pathway that led you then. Can you, I just had a thought. It's in your bathroom. We're talking about dry body brushing. Can you do it while you're in the shower? Can that be something for, somebody who thinks, oh God, I'd probably be able to do it when I'm in the shower. I don't know about doing it when I'm standing out of the shower. Is that
Yeah.
something that you can do, or is the benefits not quite there?
No, so it is dry body brushing. So the practice is to brush your body before you bathe. So you can brush your body before you jump in the ocean or jump in the shower or jump in the bath. And yeah, so you want to do the practice outside of the water. But it's also, I think we try to put so many things, like do too many things. So it's actually just, you put your phone down, you brush your body, you go and have a shower, and it's, just starting to do things a little bit slowly. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's lovely, actually, isn't it? I mean, we're fairly mindless when we go
Yeah.
through those sort of routines, whereas that makes you a little bit more mindful in taking care and probably appreciating what your body may have done for the day or what it's about to do if you're going to be doing it in the morning. So it's
Absolutely.
quite a
Yeah.
lovely way to do it.
Especially as women, I think that we try to do so many things at once, and
Mm.
because we can. So taking that time for yourself is so important, and it's absolutely selfless. When we start to put out these practices in for ourselves, we have got energy for everybody else around us.
Yeah, that's right. You're not
Yeah.
the only one that benefits. Everyone around you does as well. So,
Yeah,
Beck, talking
exactly.
about how you came up with a design for a body brush yourself, because some people may not even be able to imagine what a body brush looks like. So you
Yeah.
came up with a design, and that became the start of your business called Stas & Co. What made you take it to that next level? Like, why? It's one thing to say, oh, I love a body brush and I love beautiful things, but then to go to that next level is pretty amazing.
Yeah, well, I have always had morning rituals in place. I've practiced yoga for almost 25 years now. I've had a morning practice for many, many years. And so after I did this beautiful big cleanse that changed my life, I decided to, it came very naturally, actually. I feel like I did the cleanse. I had 7 years in the yachting industry. I was so burnt out. I decided to live in Bali, and I just came up with this beautiful idea, and well, with my sister actually at the time, and we started drawing the brush, and it was going to be so many different things. But then I thought, there's a business brewing inside of me that is around ritual. And I thought, okay, what better way? What do I do? And what does it look like? I can do a yoga mat, and I can do this, that, and the other. And I've always been very much what hasn't been done. And there are several body brushes in the world. I'm not saying I'm the only one that does. There's some beautiful body brushes in out there, but this has intentional design, and it sort of just became this natural progression to launch something that is around ritual. And that's when Stas and Co was born. And it's been a beautiful portal for me to share. I've got a beautiful product, but it's also a really great way for me to actually share about the importance of ritual and how it benefits us in our daily life on so many levels.
Yeah, that's lovely. And where do you have your brushes manufactured? Did you came up with the design? So what was your next step then?
So I would love to have them made in Australia, but they're made in China.
Yeah.
And I have an amazing agent that I've been working with for the last 4 years, and a great supplier. And there were just several samples going back and forth, and we've stuck with this, and it's working.
Oh, and where can you find them? But if so, I'll certainly put links into the show notes, and anytime that we've got any posts, I'll make sure that I pop there. But for somebody who goes, oh, well, where do I find one of these body brushes? Where do they?
So you can buy them online on my website, Stas and Co. And I have several amazing stockists around Australia and in LA and in the UK and in New Zealand. And my stockists are so aligned with me, and so you can sort of see them anywhere in Australia as well. So
fantastic. All right. Well, I'll make sure that we put the links in. So Stas and Co, if people wanted to look online, would be an easy way, a first step. And and on socials.
Socials, Instagram. I'm always sharing on Instagram, and you can always link through to my website from there.
Oh, that's lovely. And your other self-care rituals, what other sorts of things do you do to look after yourself?
Yeah, well, I have been meditating. I learned how to do transcendental meditation when I was 10, when my mum took my sister and I to learn. So meditation has been coming along for the ride for 30 years now.
Wow.
And so meditation, as I mentioned before, yoga, most days, and obviously dry body brushing. I'm a bit of a lymphatic nerd, so I am studying with an amazing woman who has a book called The Book of Lymph. And so I'm learning a lot about self-massage, so lymphatic self-massage, which I'm going to be sharing soon, which is amazing. And it's very important for those practices for self-soothing and self-regulation. I do a lot of breath work. My recent obsession is ice baths, and my partner bought me an ice bath for my 45th birthday, and it's been amazing. But lots of breathing and walking on the beach is my number one as well. So so
you're lucky
many.
you're able to live at the beach where you can do that.
Yes, I know. I'm so grateful for this beautiful place.
So what would be your top 3 practices? If you could only choose 3 out of all of the ones that you do, what do you think would be the absolute non-negotiables for you?
It would be walking in the first light of the morning sun, and that lights me up. Meditation, and I mean, I have to put dry body brushing in there, but
you do kind of
it's
now.
Definitely
followed by a very close, maybe a tie for third.
But I would have to say yoga's my heart. Yeah.
Do you teach yoga? Or is it something that you just
I went and did my training in Costa Rica.
Of course you did.
in 2010.
Wow.
And so I spent a few years teaching. I was teaching on the boats and things like that, but I'm
Yeah.
not teaching at the moment. I'm sort of creating there's a little something getting created that is
Ooh,
around lymphatic. Yeah.
excellent.
So, which I'm
Beck,
excited about.
you've had a fascinating few years, haven't you? When you look back and you just all of these different places and the things that you've done rolling off your tongue, that'd be absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, it's been a big life. Been a big, wonderful life, but with a few rock bottoms, of course, thrown
Yeah.
in there.
Well, you kind of need those at times, don't you? Because that'll
Abs-
launch you off into another direction, into something else, as much
ab-
as we hate it.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where the juice is. That's where the real it's that's where it becomes really fertile when you have those times.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. I agree. So, Beck, if somebody wanted, like a woman is thinking, oh, that's a lot of things that I could incorporate, would love to incorporate. What advice would you give somebody who's just knows that she needs to, focus on herself, and out of all of those modalities, she might choose one or two. What would you say to her? Like, what would be your advice for when you're just starting out in something?
I believe that a practice that you can self-regulate and self-soothe, um, really tapping into what you need. I believe that when you can put your hand on your heart and you can take 3 deep breaths and ask yourself in that space, what do I need? It doesn't need to be. I had many years of my practice being regimented, and I have softened as I'm growing into my wisdom years. I am softening and softening and softening, and I believe as we do move through these beautiful years, I think it's so important not to do too much.
Yeah.
So I I think that certainly any kind of movement is so important for us. Any kind of just so we can shift the energy. There's so much that we take on daily, and I feel like if there's a breath practice, or there is a beautiful little soft yoga practice, or walking on the beach, these types of things are so important. And I just think that don't feel overwhelmed, because there is too many things going on in the world for us to think that we have to do 2 hours worth of ritual. And I know it probably sounds like I do many things, but as I mentioned, over the years I have softened. And if I wake up and I feel like I don't want to do certain things, I'll just go for a walk.
Mm.
And that's enough, because what I do is enough. What we all do is enough. And just to really soften into what we truly need every day.
Mm. Yeah.
Self-compassion,
Yeah, that's so
having
important, isn't it?
compassion.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And as women, we
yeah,
can be so hard on ourselves, soft for everybody else, and a lot of times, and hard on ourselves. Mm.
absolutely,
Mm.
absolutely. Yeah. So,
No, that's lovely
yeah,
advice. That's really lovely advice. So, Becky, you've got all of these practices in place, and you sort of mentioning that you're softening. That's sort of your mind telling you that, and you're just following how your body is feeling. So is that what you've noticed as you're becoming older, and your body's starting to change? Is that
yeah,
something that's been what you've noticed is the number one thing? I've just got to listen to it more and slow down, or is it something else?
I feel my body changing. There are certain parts of me where, like, my energy is shifting, and it sometimes takes me getting sick, and I've just recently gone through a time like that where I'm pushing too much. And of course I hurt my neck and I was unwell, and my body always tells me
Mm.
that I need to slow down. So after this last time that my neck started hurting and I was feeling a bit off, I have now consciously I've just turned 45, and I had a moment around my birthday a few weeks ago where I I was thinking it's time to soften. And I gave myself gratitude for making it this, to my age, and just really wanting to move through this next stage of my life um, gracefully.
Mm.
And yeah, just continuing to um, work with these beautiful practices that I've gathered over the past 25 years, and them being a part of my life that enriches me rather than, as I mentioned before, really being a task.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the softening I think comes through what lights me up, what makes me feel, what lights me up. I feel like it's such a beautiful time of life, and I want to go through it gracefully.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a privilege getting here when you think about other people who haven't been as fortunate.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. The women that came before me didn't have information.
No.
So I'm grateful for women like you who are sharing,
Mm. Well,
yeah, sharing more.
important that we do, isn't it? And to start to talk about it more and make it a common part of our conversation instead of something that we hide away. Mm.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
Beck, we have had some messages backwards and forwards over the last couple of months with regards to, some of the questions around perimenopause and changes, because what happens is that you enter perimenopause without realizing. It's like when you're a young girl entering puberty, all of these changes are happening on a cellular level, and we don't realize until all of a sudden, for some women, symptoms may start to occur. What's the experience that you and your friends are having now? Because you've said to me, well, no one's really talking about it. So what have you and your girlfriends have noticed around this time of life?
Yeah. Well, the conversations sort of started a few months ago, and all of a sudden we were like, I was just having these, I was like, how are you feeling? What are you going through? And I started to research it a lot more. And I think, I think if anything, I'm feeling really grateful at the moment, because I feel like there is so much information
Mm.
that is starting to really rise up. And I'm not sure whether it's because I'm sort of following more people, but there is definitely um I know more information that is out there for us, and there are people trailblazing um, for us, and it is a time that wasn't spoken about. It wasn't spoken about. It was almost like shameful to speak about it in my
Mm.
mum's generation. And my mum had no help, or she didn't actually even know what she was going through. And I feel like, a lot of what I'm speaking about with my friends at the moment is it's almost like I want to stop the flow on effect of women being deemed as crazy through
Mm.
these years. And instead of that, educating our partners of like what speaking about it and what we're going through, and it not being a flow on effect from their fathers,
Mm.
and it becoming just a beautiful normal conversation to have, and um, being empowered by it
Yeah.
rather than
Yeah.
um, rather than it being just this, oh, don't talk about that. Oh, she's
Mm. Mm.
moody, or
Mm. It's a natural phase of life that all women, no matter where you live in the world, will go through. And the women before us have
Oh,
gone through it. The women yet to get to this age will come through it. So it needs to be normalized and also not demonized. It doesn't have to be. I mean, there are certainly some symptoms that some women will have. There's no two experiences will ever be the same for women. There'll be commonalities, but you will experience differently to I'll experience, and same with your friends. But it's also learn to manage the changes that are happening in our bodies. And there are so many different ways that you can do that. And one of the, I mean, you're doing a lot of practices now that are lowering your stress levels, that are, that are supporting your body in so many ways that can help minimize some of the things that women can go through, some of the symptoms that may appear as well as your hormones fluctuate. So do your friends have those sort of practices as well, Beck? Or have you noticed when you're talking that, so practice is one thing, do they have the same practices? And number two, are a lot of your symptoms and what you're going through similar, or are they quite different?
Yeah, so that's such a great question. I have friends who have practices like I do, and also friends that don't. And I feel like, if anything, like I was saying before, it's a really nice way for me to sort of say, this is what makes me feel really good, and this is what helps my hormone, just to balance my hormones. And I feel like that really helps the people that haven't got those practices in place. Certainly am not one for saying you need to do this to make yourself, because like you say, it's not one woman. What works for me might not work for somebody else, and reading a book with a cup of tea might be really good for that person. And I feel like everything works for the individual. And but in terms of symptoms, my sister she's 47 this year, and she's certainly gone through some highs and lows with hormones. And it's really, I feel like there's a lot of similarities that are between all the people that I'm speaking to around my age. And it's not necessarily anybody going through anything like major at the moment. I feel like we are just speaking about, oh, okay, so what we're feeling is, I think, the start of perimenopause. And it becomes this, we all take a big breath of relief and think, okay, it's really nice, let's educate ourselves so we can move through this gracefully. So, and I feel it very supportive. It's just becomes a conversation that, like, that's a normal conversation that we have, and it's just so supportive.
Yeah. Oh, that's lovely to hear that you've got each other that you can have these conversations with, because some women don't. They go through things alone. It is always wonderful when you've got somebody to share what you're going through. So that I'm happy for you that you and your friends have got that. What's been the biggest positive that, since you've noticed going through, you're entering this midlife period, the middle of life, what's been one of the biggest positives? Is it that being more in tune and learning to say no when you don't feel like doing things? Like, if your body's tired, just listen to it. Is that, or is it something completely different?
Absolutely that, to listen and to be okay with going slow. Absolutely, not push through, and listening to my body. That is key, because once we start having a conversation with ourselves, I believe that our body will become our biggest teacher, because our body knows what we need. And in terms of just dropping down everything it's in our mind, I know it's really hard. It's very easy to say you can't ever drop everything out of your mind, but just connecting your mind to your body is a really important practice. Yeah.
What are you looking forward to most in the future? What's something that you're going, oh, I can't wait to do?
I have started to just enjoy being okay with like sitting by the river and not thinking that I have to do a million other things. So being okay to actually slow down. So I'm looking forward to more adventures and just being okay with taking time for joy.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah, more joy.
yeah.
So yeah,
No, that's lovely because they've got decades ahead. You know,
yes.
doing everything at breakneck speed is not going to, you're not going to enjoy it anyway. So you might as well just take that slower pace and enjoy the ride.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I'm 100 miles an hour. I'm an Aries, and I'm like go go go. And so it's actually and and you're so right. It's like what are we racing towards? So it's
Yeah.
just really just having a nice life and being okay and knowing that I deserve that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, having that awareness and the promise of what could be ahead. I mean, there's so much that we've got no idea what's ahead of us. And you were talking before that, you're learning about the lymphatic system from your teacher, and there's something that you've got that you want to work on. So that could take you
Yes.
in a whole other direction in the next 5, 10, 15 years. That's exciting.
It is exciting and it feels really timely at the moment as well. And the workshop that I'm working on is around everything that we're speaking about now,
Mm.
and really I feel like I've niched the practices and just honing in on is around lymphatic and
Yep.
daily rituals and just sharing with women this beautiful way of being able to set your day up. And it's lymphatic self massage and breath work, Kundalini Kriya, movement, sound meditation. So, just a really nice little bundle of goodness that I've gathered for
Oh,
many, many years.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds fabulous.
Yeah.
Where you are a fountain of knowledge in all of those areas. So whatever you're bringing forth in the future, it's going to be wonderful for whoever takes you up on that. So Beck,
Oh,
who
thank you.
are your role models? So do you look at this stage of life? Is there somebody or people that you've got in your life who are role models for you?
Yeah, I like to call them expanders. So
Expanders,
women,
love that. Yeah.
yeah, there's a few women who I have to say my mum is 70. She she's just she meditates every day, and she's yeah, she's just got such beautiful essence, and
Mm,
seeing her grow and be this beautiful 70-year-old with I feel like she's been so graceful through her years, and yeah, so she's definitely um Lisa Gainsley, who is the guru of the lymphatic system. She's definitely, and there's just Taryn Toomey, who does the class in New York. She's amazing, and she's all about moving your body to release the emotions that we've got in our systems. So she's amazing. Yeah, I've got so many people who just women who go through life with grace
yeah.
and just power
Mm.
within themselves.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're lucky to have women like that we can follow and learn from as well. That to me, I just love learning from the women who have come before me and women my own peers. There's some
Yeah.
amazing, amazing women around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm. And
Yeah.
now we've got the opportunity that we can learn from them far more easily than we ever did before, and that's incredible.
Absolutely. It's a healthy way of social media, I think.
Yes, there's the positive of it. That is definitely the
Yeah.
positive of it. So, Beck,
Yeah.
before we wrap up, I'll have our question that I ask everybody. So, what would 80-year-old Beck think of current day Beck?
Oh, I feel like she would look at me now and say thank you for investing
Mm,
into my health and my well-being and my soul, and also just keep going. You're doing okay.
Love it. Love it. Well, thank you so much, Beck, for all of your wise words and sharing some of these practices, particularly dry body brushing. That's something that everybody who is listening could do, man or woman, but particularly women, because this is focused primarily for women in the middle of life. And that is something that they can easily do. As you said, it doesn't have to be every day. It doesn't have to be for a long period of time. And I encourage you to have a look at Beck's beautiful Instagram account too, and follow her there, because there's some great things that you have on there with regards to looking after yourself also.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jo. This was so beautiful, and I just think you're doing such great work, and yeah, I'm very grateful for you.
Likewise. Thank you so much for your beautiful words. All right.
Thanks, Jo.
Bye-bye, Beck.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening and sharing your time with me today. I'd love you to hit subscribe on Apple Podcast or your favourite podcast app to keep spreading these empowering messages. Please share this podcast with other incredible midlife women in your world. Join me again next week for another redefining midlife conversation. Thanks again for tuning in.